Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we have a rumor from what many people consider to be a credible source suggesting that Nintendo may indeed be putting together some type of presentation that will have to do with the reveal of Nintendo Switch 2. So if true, what might this imply for when we see the reveal of this console, and what might be shown off? Well, that's what I'd like to talk about today. But before going forward, let me point out that we are aiming for a goal of 40,000 subscribers, so if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you haven't heard about this rumor yet, it is coming from Nate the Hate. They recently put out a podcast, and during their podcast, which is a very good listen, I recommend you check it out. It will be linked in the description below, but during the show, Nate does say at one point that he has heard that Nintendo has requested assets from certain partners for something. And so when he says assets, we're talking about like footage and promotional material of games that Nintendo's partners are working on. Nintendo's partners being third-party companies kind of like, you know, the teams that make Call of Duty, or perhaps Capcom that makes Monster Hunter Wilds, or Bandai Namco that's working on Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. These kinds of games we could perhaps see in a reveal trailer in the not-so-distant future. That seems to be the implication that something is being put together here. Now, I say a reveal trailer, but it could be a bigger presentation. But before we kind of dive further into the possibilities of what this reveal might actually entail, what's the timing situation here? Because we've been back and forth on this, and there is certainly room for debate here. Well, first let me clarify that there was a belief that Switch 2 was going to be revealed in March, but that was before the reported internal delay. From what we understand of what the different venues have heard, Nintendo relatively recently decided to push things back a bit. So this belief that we would see a reveal in March doesn't seem extremely likely anymore. At least in terms of us getting like a reveal trailer or presentation. That said, could we see some sort of press release from Nintendo or some sort of social media announcement about Nintendo's next console within the next month or two, conceivably even still in March? It's technically possible. I'm not expecting an announcement exactly in March, but I'm not going to say it's completely impossible. A lot of people have been pointing towards Nintendo's investors meeting in early May, where we might hear something, and I do think by that point we'll likely have heard something from them. I think it's worth noting that if we go back to April 27th, 2016, Nintendo of America tweeted this: "The next generation of Nintendo is coming March 2017, #NX. So conceivably, we could see something very similar this time around as well. If the reports are indicating an early 2025 release, this seemingly is pointing towards another March release window similar to Switch back in March 2017, and so if we are in that year prior to that, maybe we see a tweet just like this where they say, hey, the next generation, the sequel to the Nintendo Switch, will be releasing March 2025, and we could see this tweet sometime in April, next month. But a social media announcement like this wouldn't show anything. They would just show like a Nintendo logo, if even that. When would we be getting more? Well, first let me say that while it's possible they'll give us very minimal information on this, they could perhaps hint at the console in some way, with this initial tweet acknowledging the existence of the console. However, there is a rumor that's been going around. This is coming from Brazil on Family Boards. They have their own channel as well, and they're one of the people who initially broke the story of the Switch 2 delay, and a lot of other people corroborated them. Many people seem to think that they have a good track record of sources here, and they aren't someone that's trying to advertise their stuff. They are more humble and just kind of talk about things when they hear about things within their own community. And what they've heard is that we're supposed to get an Indie World relatively soon, and then that will be followed by some type of Nintendo Direct in April with a Switch 2 reveal in June. Of course, that's what they've heard as of late. That is subject to change, as they themselves would tell you. But it should also be added that Necrofelipe, also on Family Boards, but also coming from Universal Nintendo, the writer of Universal Nintendo, that they heard that the Direct in April would be a General Direct. So, if come April we get a General Direct, and also we get some sort of social media announcement referencing the next generation of Nintendo, confirming somewhat when it's going to happen, then I do think the rumor is holding true, and we are positioned for a reveal in June. And I would say this is all strengthened by this new rumor from Nate the Hate about Nintendo requesting assets, because it suggests that Nintendo's putting something together here. Now, it's possible that these assets will be used for more than one thing. Maybe they first want to showcase this to more partners, to more investors behind the scenes, and then later they will start showcasing it to the public. The Game Developers Conference is about to happen. Perhaps some people are going to see more of Switch 2 during this event, and so we could be getting a lot more interesting, little juicy details of what people have heard, in other words, rumors, during this event. But the overall point I'm trying to make here is that this latest info does have me more optimistic for a reveal sooner than later. However, I would like to point out that if Switch 2 isn't coming out until, say, March 2025, then similar to Switch 1, where Nintendo didn't actually show us anything until October 2016, we could conceivably have to wait that long as well. I don't think that's a foregone conclusion. I don't think that that's the only way Nintendo could go about doing things, but it's certainly possible, and I think we should take it under consideration, especially if we're trying to prepare ourselves to not be disappointed when we don't get an amazing reveal of Switch 2 in June. On the flip side, if we are getting a big direct in April that's supposed to showcase the plans for the rest of 2024 relating to Switch 1, then that typical time where we have an influx of Nintendo news in June wouldn't seem to make as much sense anymore unless this influx of Nintendo news isn't relating to Switch 1, but Switch 2. So there is definitely reason to have some hope for a cool June reveal trailer or presentation of Switch 2, but also I just want to say, historically speaking, we could wait longer, so just be prepared for that. But how might Nintendo go about revealing this console in a trailer? I'm going to assume we get a trailer first as opposed to a presentation, because that's how they handled it for Switch 1. It was first a trailer, and then a presentation. I think you first want to put out a trailer, something smaller, so you can reach a large audience, captivate many people, let that build up over time, and as we approach the actual release date of the console, then put out a presentation where you can iron out even more details and make everything very clear on what we should expect for the console in terms of features, pricing, release packaging, and games lineup. So if that's how things go, when it comes to this reveal trailer, if that's what we get, what would they show off? Well, I kind of assume it would be very similar to the first look trailer for Nintendo Switch 1, where it kind of shows different scenes of people using the console in different ways with different games being shown at different times. So that first look trailer showed Breath of the Wild, which we had already known about, but also teased a few bigger new games that we had not seen yet, like the next 3D Mario and Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, a deluxe version of Mario Kart 8, but they also showed some big third-party games in NBA 2K and Skyrim. So I envision something very similar for Switch 2. Maybe there is one game that has already been shown off that is a part of this trailer. That game, I would assume, is Metroid Prime 4. If we're getting an April Direct, maybe we finally see Metroid Prime 4 in that Direct, and then with this reveal trailer, they show Metroid Prime 4 running on this console, so you start the conversation and excitement of, oh, there is a better version that's being planned for Switch 2, and they showcase that, but then they also show, again, the new 3D Mario. They don't tell us what it is, they just show us some footage and they leave us to wonder, being extremely excited about what it's going to be. And then another bigger Nintendo game that we're perhaps not expecting. Mario Kart may factor into that equation. I think that makes a lot of sense. I expect Mario Kart to come out pretty early on for Switch 2 as well as sometime next year. And then a couple big third parties. I mentioned some earlier in the video. Maybe there'll be more of a focus on third parties this time around. I think Monster Hunter Wilds would definitely play a vital role in this, but maybe there could be other things. Maybe they show a version of Elden Ring on Switch 2, or Resident Evil 4 Remake, for example. This one I also mentioned earlier, but Call of Duty I think would make a lot of sense because Call of Duty hasn't vacant from the Switch library. Call of Duty should be coming because Microsoft now owns the rights to Call of Duty, and there's a contractual agreement between Nintendo and Microsoft for Call of Duty to be on Nintendo platforms moving forward. So I do kind of think that showcasing the next Call of Duty running on Switch 2 makes a lot of sense. So a trailer that has Metroid Prime 4, 3D Mario, Mario Kart, another unknown Nintendo title, I'll leave that up to your own imaginations for what that might be, and then 2 or 3 other big third-party games like a Monster Hunter Wilds, Call of Duty, maybe an Elden Ring, especially with the DLC on the way. That would be a pretty hype trailer, and I think it would tell a compelling picture of what we should expect for the console. Now, I'm going to put something out there that I have alluded to in the past that I don't know if it's going to happen. It's not based off anything but speculation and reason. But that theorized Ocarina of Time remake. The idea behind this is that it would be something that would be meant to showcase the hardware of Switch 2 early on to the console's life cycle, as Nintendo has done with prior Zelda remakes or remasters like Wind Waker HD, for example. Then that could conceivably be in this reveal trailer. Now, given that it would be a remake, I kind of imagine it would have a shorter announcement to reveal window, and so I don't know if they would want this to be in the reveal trailer, especially because it may not even come out in 2025, it could be a 2026 release. But conceivably, it could be a 2025 release, and it could be a part of Nintendo's first year lineup, and it would be something that would showcase the abilities of the system. So I'm just putting it out there as like a really cool reveal that could be in this trailer, but I don't think it actually will be. It's just a small possibility. More likely, if we're getting something like that, I think it's coming a bit later down the road, even the reveal. That all said, even if we only see one game, and that one game is 3D Mario, that alone, I think, would fill many of us with extreme excitement for the console. Of course, this is a conversation operating under an optimistic perspective that Nintendo would be having a reveal by June. Maybe we have to wait later into the year, as I discussed earlier. Or who knows, because if the system was delayed once, it can certainly happen again. But at some point or another, Nintendo is going to have to move on, and we are already in an unprecedented point in the Switch era where this console is more than 7 years old, and we don't have an official announcement about new hardware yet. So you gotta think something's gonna give at some point. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.